Hello, and welcome back to the Intuitively Led podcast. I am your host, Julie Chandler. Um, I was going to just give you a whole bunch of names and identities there as to what I am, but I don't really know that I want to do that today. It doesn't feel right. I'm in an evolutionary energy. I can't lie. I'm currently in the south of France. So, again, as per last week, background different. If you hear noises, etc., the window is open. I can't have it closed. It's going to be like 39 degrees today. So, it is what it is. We're running with the situation, the energy as it is around us. But today's episode, I really, really want to talk to you about energy clearing, but in a new way. I don't want to sit here and talk about the standard and typical ways that we can basically zhuzh up our energy. And by that, I mean you're smudging, so using sage or smoke to do that, burning a candle in the room, getting up, going for a run. I really want to talk about something because this has happened to me multiple times. And I think it's time that I really share it and talk about how to elevate your energy. Now, this kind of actually started for me a few weeks back when one of my one-to-one clients asked me specifically how you stay in the energy of positivity. So, if you guys have ever had coaching or if you're in certain memberships, programs, especially the American ones, I'm going to put that out there, they have this ability to lift your energy and make you think that absolutely anything is possible. And it's beautiful. It is so beautiful. But then you kind of come back to reality, right? Or your version of reality, as we will say. And when you do, sometimes you hit the ground with a bump. So you kind of get this vibe of oh my God, I'm going to do a webinar and 100 people are going to sign up for my program and it's going to be fantastic and it's going to solve all my problems and everything is going to be fine forevermore. And then you run your webinar and maybe one person signs up and you're like, do I do the webinar? Do I not do the webinar? So you kind of hit the ground hard when your version of reality actually comes and hits you. And you sort of think oh, do they just bolster the numbers? Do they, do they just think way too big? Do I need to be more practical? Because we're often told and we often sit in this energy of business has to be practical. You can't just pluck numbers out of the sky when in actual fact, all numbers are just really plucked from the sky. Because even with statisticians, did I say that right? Statisticians. Wow, that's difficult to say today. Even with those guys who are working those numbers and putting them through computers, and I totally think math has the answer to everything, but things change, right? So as an example, so statisticians, I can't say that word. I'm just going to give up. The people who run the numbers when you're looking at, say, insurance as a business, right? So how can we pick a boring business? Insurance companies run numbers to be right, this many people will come, this percentage of people will claim, and it will look like this, and it will look like this. And then something like COVID happened. They absolutely threw them for a loop because actually more people are claiming, more people are trying to work the system. This isn't even in the blueprint. So actually, even when numbers are run and tried and tested by the math people, their new name, even when it's run, tried and tested with them, and it's had proof over and over again, there are still times when things will burst through the ceiling, burst those bubbles, and things will look very different. But coming back to my client, so she had basically witnessed or listened to one of the coaches that I'm in a coaching program with. They are American and they'd done a freebie event. And doing that event, it kind of again, the energy lifts, everybody's vibing. There's a huge amount of people going through this freebie event, 3-day event that they do once a year, this coach. And essentially, my client's energy was lifted, oh my God, I can actually do this, that, and the other. And it will look like this and it can look like that. But how do I keep my energy here? And I had to be honest. I was you have to keep feeding that energy with that energy. And it kind of got my own thoughts going, because there were certain things, certain groups, certain people that I had worked with, that I was in, that I was around, whether it's Facebook groups, memberships, whatever it was. There were certain ones that I'm like, oh, I don't know if I should be in here. And I kept telling myself that I should stay here, that this is where my people are, or this is where I have received a few people to work with and things like that. So maybe I should stay in these memberships and these groups and these friendship groups and all of this kind of stuff. But what really dawned on me was, actually, the more I doubted, the more I thought, oh, should I do this? Shouldn't I do that? The more stagnant my energy was becoming. And it's nothing against these people. It's nothing against these groups. It's my energy that when I move and I sit in the energy of like the coaches that are like really optimistic, and I sit in that high vibe, I can do this. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. This really grounds me. And when I come back to my own framework, my intuitively led framework, where I'm like, right, I know my soul's experience. I know the energy of me and what I'm supposed to be doing. I know that the group program that is coming in the next few months was 100% guided by the universe. I've tried and tested it with one-on-ones. I'm now evolving it, changing it, and moving it, and it feels fantastic. And I'm like, but it doesn't feel fantastic in some of those old spaces. It doesn't feel fantastic when I'm talking about it and people are like, is this the right time to launch a group program? Not many people are turning up to webinars. People aren't spending money anymore, because that's what they're saying in those groups. And I understand that communities especially are there to kind of like hold your hand when shit doesn't work. But it doesn't mean that that energy needs to stay with you. And when you're ready, you will fly away from those and radiate to the ones of like, right, okay, if that didn't work, it wasn't because people aren't buying. It wasn't because people aren't showing up. It's because you didn't say the right thing. It's about taking accountability for that energy. You didn't say the right thing. You didn't speak in the right rooms. You didn't put enough ads out there. You didn't tweak the copy. You didn't show up enough on Instagram. You didn't show up on TikTok. You didn't do a podcast episode. These are the things. You're the one in control of your energy, because let me tell you, people are buying. Right? So on one group, I'm sitting here going, oh, people aren't really buying right now. This is the quietest month right now. There's an energy crisis, living crisis, all of these crises. And they're all holding each other's hands through that, through the crises. However, that same coach, I can see that there's been an increase in the coaching group of over 1,500 people. Actually, it's like over 1,600 now. Over 1,500 people brought that coach's program. So when I tell you people are buying, trust me. Because people might not be buying what you're offering because you're not placing it right. You're not positioning it right. You're not standing behind the energy. The energy is off. There is a misalignment, because people are buying. They might be buying differently. They might be buying more consciously, but they're still buying. As long as you have something that people need and want, and they resonate with you and your energy, as long as that is happening, you are fine. People will buy. People will come. So I've realized how important it is to really stand in the right energy. Because there's been times where I've been scared to launch because everybody's telling me, so through COVID, for example, right? Everyone's saying now isn't the time to do this. Now isn't the time to do that. People don't have as much money. People were leaving my membership at the time, left, right, and center, because they didn't have the money. But also, I wasn't standing in the right authority. I wasn't standing in the right energy. I was dealing with my own shit. So I wasn't feeding my business energy. I wasn't giving it automations. I was doing too much. I wasn't caring for my energy. I wasn't checking in with my clients' energy. I wasn't feeding my business energy. I was really just going with the flow of the universal energy. and then that was it. So these are things that you need to think about. They are so important. So when I say we're thinking about an energy clear, we are doing things for our business energy because it's being fed by your energy. So if you are in groups or memberships, Facebook groups especially, okay, I'll be completely honest, Facebook groups, a lot of them, like, you're like, oh my God, this is brilliant. You can mute them because you can go in there and serve and show up and be you and get attention and get your clients if that's where you're picking them up from. But you can also mute them so that you don't have to hear the people squabbling, so that you don't have to hear the, like, oh, nobody's buying. Like, if I hear one more person say, like, oh, nobody's buying, or August is going to be the quietest month because it's always quiet. Like, what? No, I had my biggest launch ever last year in August. Don't tell me that August is a quiet month for businesses, because people are still buying in August. If they need it and they want it, if they're on holiday, they're still going to buy it. Okay. Trust me. If you're positioned in the right place, people will buy it. They might think twice and be like, oh, have I got the time to commit to this? Have I got the time when my kids are on holiday and they're at home, and et cetera, et cetera? But they'll still buy it if they need it and want it. If they think they can get the result that they need from that and from you, they will still buy it. So don't tell me, don't put that in my energy sphere. Don't tell me that August is a quiet month. I get that you're probably doing it because you think that, like, it's helpful. It's not helpful for me. It's really not. And I will say it over and over again. Now, I understand. I absolutely understand that when there is this programming in our mind, that when we are told over and over again by news outlets, and yes, people are struggling, but when we're struggling, there is a reason, and it's not just something external. We need to stop blaming the external. You have control over yourself, your energy, and your business energy. So to sit in that energy and clear everything out, because it just makes so much difference. When you make declarations that are huge and grand, the universe raises its vibration to meet you there. So if you're sitting there and you're being told, so you're like, I'm going to run a webinar and I'm going to get 100 people. And people are like, well, people don't really show up to webinars anymore, so you can probably expect to only get 20 people live. Don't put your expectations on my energy and my business. If 10 people turn up live, I'm still winning because I'm showing up and serving those 10 people, because those 10 people are supposed to be there for me, for my energy. So I don't want to hear anything about this negative Nancy stuff. Because if I'm going to tell you, I want to set my intention and I want my vibration to be, I'm going to get 100 people on that and I'm going to get 10 people to buy. If I go into that with that energy, I've declared it to the universe. But if you start, or someone starts, or there is doubt, you start doubting yourself, someone else puts doubts in your head, groups, communities, all of that. They come, they put their energy on you, and you sit there and you start to dwindle. You start to doubt yourself. And then it becomes not, I'm going to get this. It becomes, it would be good if I get this. Two totally different energies, two totally different frequencies. It would be great if I get this. I'm getting this. Because energy is everything. You know that you need to match the energy frequency of what you want. So if you want it, sit in that energy of, that's what's happening. That's what's happening. And if you're not sitting in that energy, it's so much lower. That's how easy it is to stay in these higher vibes, is to watch who is trying to pull you down. Even when they're supporting you, because 9 times out of 10, they're actually trying to support you. But because they've got their own things, their own doubts, it's something to watch. Now, I give this example all the time of with my mum. So my mum has a pessimist energy in there. She doesn't realize it. I mean, my dad's probably even worse. So if they're listening to this, hi, sorry, truth, hello. I don't think they listen, so it's fine. But I've now got to the point that I stop telling my mum certain things, especially if it's a negative thing. So there was a client of mine who was working with me on retainer recently who had to stop working with me on retainer, and I didn't tell my family. There was a chunk of income completely gone. I didn't tell my family because I just sat in the energy of like, there will be something that replaces this. And since then, so that would have been in May, we ended halfway through June. Since then, they've now taken extra hours with me. I've replaced that income with another client, and I've got another client starting on Monday. So I've actually made more money because I've opened myself up to more money coming in. And for example, if I said that to my mum of like, oh, I've got all of these things coming in, it would be like, oh, that's amazing. But obviously it's an unstable market. So, you know, they do come and go. That's her protecting herself, her beliefs, her identities around money. And in her mind, that's her keeping me grounded. It's keeping me aware and conscious. It's given me the praise of like, oh, that's brilliant. But there's the but. And that's what a lot of these communities are doing right now. And this isn't a point and blame and a thing. It's just where they are because there's so many people are being fed by media. And I don't want to be that person of like, wow, the media is lying. There's truth in the media. There's bollocks in the media. There's a lot in the media. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not going to sit here and say that the media is telling you stuff that's wrong. There is a problem, right? So here in France, for example, I tried to buy some chicken recently, 2 large chicken breasts. It was like 18 euros. Now, I understand I'm in a more expensive and affluent area. I understand that they don't produce chicken here in the same way they do in the UK or the US. However, 18 euros for 2 chicken breasts is a madness. I want you to know that. But at the same time, I still bought it because I needed the chicken. Okay. So I'm aware and I can see, I'm not detached from, I'm not ignoring the fact that prices are rising, things are changing, things are evolving. I'm not ignoring the fact, you know, house prices are all over the place. Rental prices, especially in the UK, are just ridiculous right now. Even in the space of 2 years, I've seen in my city prices going up by like 400 a month on a 1-bedroom flat in a year to 2 years. It's a lot. So I know that there is that going on, but I also know and trust that the universe is absolutely abundant and that when we tap in, we can receive. It's like there's an energy crisis, the world is ending, yet I get to spend 3 months in the south of France because I chose to and I called it in. I called this energy in. I made sure I stayed as true as I could to this is happening. And I love doing that. Even yesterday, I've booked a trip for December to LA to go to a coaching conference with said coach because that's where I want my vibe to be. I want to be in the room with those people whose vibrations are through the roof. I want to go, I want to mingle, I want to meet more people whose vibration is super high. That's where I want to be because that will help me serve you. It will help my business grow and evolve, and it will just give that frequency and that vibe. And it's about pushing your boundaries and taking risks to do that. So at the same time I booked that, I canceled multiple memberships that I'm in because I'm like, these are not the rooms I want to be in anymore. I want to be over here. And I've made that conscious decision. If things change, because business changes, life changes, everything evolves and moves and is continuously moving. Everything is energy and energy moves all the time. If that happens and I want to go back in them, I can. But right now, I want to do everything I can to position and keep my energy in abundance, in possibility and potential. I don't want to be stopped by doubts. I want to sit as high as I can. And when things don't hit what I want it to do, I want to reflect. I want to say, where is that? Is it just because the time isn't right yet and we're going to evolve and we're going to grow and we're going to steadily build? Or do I need to tweak, change? What do I need to do? But I am no longer sitting in an energy of nobody's buying right now. There's an energy crisis on. There's a living crisis on. There is always something. There is always something. If you think back, even back 2018, 2019, we had the petrol prices going up crazy. Then we had COVID. We had like Brexit doing its thing in the UK. There's always something. There is always an excuse. There is always an energy that we can go, oh, that's why I can't do X, Y, and Z in my business. And this is the energy clearing I want to talk to you about. What I want you to know about. What I am talking to you about. This is the energy. Taking accountability of your energy in your business, taking accountability of your personal energy, your business energy, because your business has its own energetic frequency, its own energy body. If you're not taking care of that in the same way that you take care of yourself, so you sit there and you do your self-care for yourself, you're like, oh, I had to do my morning walk, I did my morning yoga, I did my journal practice, I did whatever your things are. Maybe it's a tub of ice cream on a Friday night. You've done that for yourself, but have you checked in with your business? Does your business energy need something? Because it's fed by your energy mostly. It has its own energy, but to get it to circulate, it needs your energy and your input. So how your energy is, you've got to think of it like this. Think of a car. If you're sitting there and you're running your car and it's a petrol car, you could put in the better octane and it cleans out that engine, right? Like with, I believe that's what it does. I probably chose the worst analogy to do this. But if you put in the higher quality oil, energy, like whatever petrol in, it's going to work more efficiently. You can make it chug along on the cheap petrol from the supermarkets, all of that good stuff. Sometimes needs must, right? So it's just got to chug along. But if you're sitting there and you're taking all the negative energy and putting it in, that's like putting diesel in a petrol car. What you want to do is be putting that high octane. I think it's high octane. I really hope I'm doing this analogy right. What you need to be doing is putting that better quality petrol into your business car, into your business machine, to make sure that it flows effectively and grows effectively. There are so many energy frequencies to be aware of. I know that. But just protecting your business as its own entity of, okay, am I fueling my business with the best energy possible? That's what you need to think about. So if an energy clear, it means that you've got to hide certain people off your Instagram, do it. If they slow you down because you're self-sabotaging, imposter syndroming when you look at someone else's page or their posts, hide them. Clean your shit out. And then, of course, you can go back to the basics. You can do your own thing. You can have an energetic cleanse through a shower or a bath. You can go for a beautiful walk or a run to clear your energy. You can smudge the room, sage the room. You can use crystals to clear the energy. Absolutely, you can. But try doing some simple things, the things that are actually really affecting your energy when it comes to feeding your business. Because it's powerful. Because even when since I've made, and this is just a pure example, so that why I'm sitting here in my sports top and I'm looking quite red in the face is because I'm not long back from a 2-hour hike. So yesterday I signed up for that program. I was so excited. I've even done a bougie thing to go from a really local airport to get basically right at the door to go to land at a local airport in America rather than driving all the way to London to go to LAX to then drive all the way across LA. I'm not doing it. I want to go door to door. I just want it simple. I want my energy to be in that abundance. I want it to be like, right, I'm going on my business trip. Here's my local airport. Off we go. And actually, although I've got 2 layovers, I arrive quicker than I would doing it the other way. So these are the kind of things that help raise your vibration, right? So even that, so I've signed up for that. I've sat in that abundance straight away after I've booked it. I've gone outside, I've gone for a swim in the beautiful pool, looked at the beautiful scenery, sat in my abundance of I've created this life. I created this. And as always, this isn't a thing of oh my God, I'm better than you. I created it. I'm human like you are. I'm simple like you are. That sounded rude, but I don't mean it offensively. But yeah, no, I'm just a human. I'm just me. I'm just living my life the best I can. And that's what I have done. And I'm sat there in this pool looking around me like, oh my God, this is now the 3rd year that I have come out here on an extended trip to the south of France for my summers, the most expensive time to be in Provence. But it's beautiful. And it really raised my vibration. It really made me think I can do things and achieve things. So I got up this morning, still sitting in that vibe. I went on the longest hike that I've done since I have been here. It was beautiful. My vibration and energy just feels so fucking great. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to stay up here in the clouds 24/7 and be here for weeks on end, but I'm going to try. And I'm going to get rid of anything that doesn't serve me from serving you the best I can. And my knowledge, my experience, my extensive experience of energy, it's boundless, the amount of things that I can teach and show and serve. And it's up to me to do that. Same way it's up to you to do that with your wisdom, your purpose, your knowledge. So I'm excited for the future. I'm excited for that energy. And I'm excited to hear what you guys do to clear your energy outside of the standard spiritual tools, because we really, really need to do this in our business, because otherwise it's just up, down, up, down, up, down. And that's fucking exhausting. And now I understand that things will have peaks and troughs, but what if the peaks just get higher and higher, but the troughs get lower so we can elevate up? That's what we need. That's what I want for you. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there with my little rant for today. Another non-scripted, non-structured podcast, but just taken from the inspiration of raising my vibration. Last week I sat there, or the week before, and told you all about sitting in the energy of abundance. And I've just continued to do that. And it's really, really helping me help you guys even more. I understand energy on such an intricate level. And there is still so much that I can teach and give you and share with you on how you can just do small little tweaks to become so aware of how you can keep your vibration super high. And I hate the terminology of like high vibe, babes, but it's true. Like, we need to just keep that vibration at the frequencies that we need. Anyway, if you have any questions or anything, hit me up on Instagram. It's at @JulieChandler__. Drop me an email, hello@juliechandler.co.uk. If you're not on the email list yet, please jump on that, because it's all about giving you intuitive energy insights into the week ahead. So whether that's like the astrology, whether that's tarot insights, psychic insights, it's just energetics, all about the week ahead for you. And that is so powerful for us as business women. So jump on that mailing list as soon as you can, even if it's just dropping in my inbox and saying, hey, I want one of those emails. Get me on that list. If you want to leave a review, I will be greatly, greatly appreciative. Honestly, it apparently means so much to the algorithm. So let's start leaving reviews. Make my day, please. And I will see you guys next time on the Intuitively Led podcast.